Hey, my name's Anthony.
My name's Alex.
And we are
the PTA Podcast.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the PTA Podcast.
What's going on, everyone?
We're in the new podcast studio. My good friend Ben and I are putting together a little podcast studio of our own called Mic Drop Studios. Keep a lookout on when that drops. We're about, I'd say 70% of the way there. So we've still got a few more little things to do, but it's coming together nicely.
Pretty fun, sir.
The soundproofing came out better than I thought, so I'm very happy.
Looks good, straight out. Looks good.
We went to...
Almost died driving these panels here, but it looks good.
Well, you're supposed to strap them down like a normal person, aren't you?
Because they didn't have time, right?
We bought these, see the warehouse that we bought this from?
Yeah.
Full like
I know.
backyard Lego job.
Proper lem spec.
Listen, it was like the cheap version of Bunnings. These weren't cheap though, but it was a cheaper version of Bunnings that we walked into, so it was actually pretty funny. Anyway, so today's episode.
Well, before we get started,
yeah.
What about them West Tigers, man?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I just had to throw it out there. Proud of the boys.
What are you proud of?
Continue.
Beating Manly.
Doesn't matter.
What
Beating
are
you guys.
Go on. Not a girl, man. Anyway, you set me off now. Can't focus. So, team, what we're going to work on today, or speak about today, I should say, is something that Alex and I have spoken about fairly frequently over the last, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7, 10, almost 10 years, if not more. And that's the typical things that we always hear from clients. And a lot of that stuff is looking at, things like their frustrations, things that they are maybe fearful of, things that they aren't happy with within themselves. And so obviously our job has always been to answer all these questions for them, kind of help them push those hurdles aside to be able to get through. And some of the stuff that we're going to go over today is, lack of time. They've tried before but failed, and have failed multiple times at something as simple as dropping some body fat and feeling more confident in themselves. They're a bit confused about what they need to be doing, what they should be doing, because as we both know, there's so many things out there that is on social media, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, whatever it might be. And the problem there is it just kind of gives everybody their different opinion, or gives a platform for all these different people to give their opinions. Yeah. And the listener's like, okay, so no carbs. Don't touch carbs. Carbs are going to kill you because of the insulin spike. And you hear somebody else saying, okay, no, ketogenics the only way to lose body fat. And this is my testimony on it. And this is the facts that support it. Then you hear somebody else say, no, just eat consistently every 2 to 3 hours and just manage your protein, carbs, and fats throughout your day. Stay consistent with that and you'll be okay. Then somebody else says intermittent fasting. Then somebody else says carb backloading. Then somebody else says go low carb. Then somebody else says fast for 24 hours and only have water. And then the listener is like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Where do I start? Yeah. What's the right thing for me? And then you know what they do on top of that is I'll start one thing. They won't stay with it for very long because they're either frustrated with not seeing the results they want, or they're hearing other things, or somebody else telling them, try this, it's working for me. So they jump off what they're doing to the next thing. They don't stick with it for very long. They don't jump to the next thing. They don't stick with it for very long, and then so on and so forth. Yeah. And this is why the individual just either yo-yos with their weight loss or fat loss, or just never achieves anything in that realm of fat loss, because they're actually not staying as consistent as they should be, which, as we both know, a good 5 to 6 month period of at least 80 to 90% consistency is the way to go. If you're not doing it for at least 3 or 4 months, what are you getting upset about when it comes to not getting results? Because you're actually not giving yourself enough time to see results.
So what do we always say? It took you 2, 3 years to put it all on. It's not going to take 2 months just to take it all off.
Mic check. Well, yeah, so that's very true. And one of the things that I was telling people was, you want to lose 10 plus years of abuse to your body. You want to fix that in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
You may get a great change in 12 weeks, but there's a lot that needs to happen. All right? So if we're trying to fix multiple things at once, this is why it takes longer than the average person.
Yeah, 100%.
So whenever I see a really fantastic, outrageous change in 10 weeks or 12 weeks, I question it. I'm like, what did they do? Not because I'm not happy for the individual for getting that change, but I'm skeptical because that coach is saying, all they did was follow my plan. It's like, come on, bro. We all know there's a bit more than that. How does a bloke with no muscle whatsoever, and a beer belly, right? Go from that, and in 10 weeks, and I'm referencing a certain image I saw over the week, throughout the week, last week I think it was. How did you go from that, right, to absolutely jacked, and looking like he's been training for the last 10 years, at least 5 days a week, and super lean, right? Super lean.
Yeah.
In 10 weeks. So I thought to myself, something doesn't add up here, right? The individual, great work. Like if you worked hard to get that in 10 weeks, amazing work. My skepticism comes from my experience, right? I got you that leaner than that guy, right? And you had more training experience than that guy in 16 weeks, right? And I thought to myself, that guy, the guy talking about it all, maybe he wasn't being as honest as possible.
Yeah, and that's where the skepticism comes from. It's not the transformation, it's what information are you actually feeding to people to make them think that you can get them the same result in 10 weeks. Like, you're not being honest with what you're saying.
It's like this. My mate over here lost this weight in just 10 weeks.
Yeah.
I could sit here all day and talk about this guy, and I'm looking at this guy going, do you think we were born yesterday?
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's like great, you got a mad result. No, like, let's be real right now. Like, no one cares if you're taking something as well. Like, no one gives a flying fuck.
Nobody ever gave a shit about that, right? What people care about is the dishonesty around them.
That's it, and that's where the skepticism of that certain post comes into it. It's, bro, as a coach, you have a duty to be honest with what you're doing with your clients, because what if someone who has, body conscious issues or mental health issues or something like that, where they're so conscious about how they look, sees that post, thinks, oh, this might be the guy to get me the result, and then, not knowing the process that you're going to take them through, and then like it fucks them up even more mentally as well. Like, just because you got someone a really good result doesn't mean you need to lie about it.
Well, the problem with that as well is that people are so desperate to get a result, or to get business, that they'll actually say whatever they need to say just to get people to inquire, so they can get the business and they can make the money, right? So this comes back down to the fact that they're not actually giving people any answers. All they're doing is adding to the already big confusion that they're going through about what is the best option for them. Yeah, it's very obvious in our industry that on social media you need to be telling or showing people the results that you're getting.
Yeah, definitely.
There's absolutely no point in talking about this stuff if you're not actually putting it into action and showing people, hey, look, I'm actually getting good results with the advice that I'm giving for other people. However, there comes, in my opinion anyway, there's a way that you talk about these things where you just don't say, look at this great work this guy did, we'll get the same thing for you. I believe you shouldn't do that, because how do you know? Like, you cannot tell me, as a coach, I cannot sit there and honestly say that any single person is the same.
No, they're not.
Right? So therefore, how can I guarantee the same result as somebody who's totally different to them for them in the same time?
Yeah, 100%. And if you want to go down in a little bit of a deeper rabbit hole, so to speak, when we're talking about even, transformations for any, like you just said, different people, and if you want to, talk about using supplements to get them that transformation as well, not one supplement regime for one person is going to work the exact same for the other person as well.
Exactly
right.
right.
So, like, I'll be blunt with it. I could sit here and, prescribe a certain amount of, gear for someone to take per week, and they get a fucking amazing result, right? And they step on stage and they look cracker. But then that same supplement protocol is not going to have the exact same effect on someone else, right? So going by what you just said, how can you sit there and say that you can get the exact same result for you that he did for this guy? Like, that in itself is a lie as well, because you don't know if you can.
You will definitely get a result for somebody because of the protocols and the principles, that you apply. So the principles always stay the same with every person that we train, right? How we apply those principles and the little variance within those principles is what matters, because we're dealing with individuals.
And then what that individual, like what level that individual is at,
Yeah.
Especially if they've come from not doing anything at all. If
Exactly.
They come from having, like I said before, a bit of a mental health issue, a bit of a body conscious issue, or their lifestyle's chaotic, and like, not everyone's starting from the same point.
Exactly right. So again, it just adds to that confusion. This is why people fail multiple times, right? This is why people feel like they don't have enough time because they're told they've got to do 2 hours of cardio plus an hour and a half training session a day, right?
100%.
Or they've got to train twice a day, or they might have to do. So everyone's like, I can't. And then you get a mother of 4 kids who runs a household, also works, and then, you know, has a husband who is also busy and works. Where do they find the time?
Yeah, exactly right.
To do all of that? It's impossible. So
Exactly
they
right,
don't even
exactly right.
consider it. Yeah? So I guess one of the things that we want to talk about is that 80-20 rule initially when it comes to training. Right? We always talk about 80-20 when it comes to nutrition. We also talk about 80-20 when it comes to training because the average person that we train cannot get to the gym 4 to 5 days a week, and if they can, it's not every week that they can do that, but they can definitely get to the gym 2 to 3 times a week
100%.
on a consistent basis every time. Most of the time our clients come 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And if they want to do any extras and it's a good week for them and they've got a bit of extra time because they finished work on time or something's happened where they don't have to travel again for work, they'll come a 4th and a 5th day, do a class, use a treadmill, do a bit of recovery.
Restore HQ.
Yeah, use Restore HQ, all that kind of stuff. So we always tell clients that you only really need 3 focused weight sessions per week
Yeah, definitely.
to see results. And I mean that. Like, I haven't trained this week.
Actually, I haven't either trained this week either.
I took this week off because I hurt my shoulder early in the week. I trained on Monday. I'm mending it. It's getting better. I see the physio on Saturday for like a proper diagnosis, but there's no pain, which is great. But then what I also looked at was, instead of stressing about not training, what else could I have done? So I just did more of the recovery, did a few extra structured walks. I was able to do a bit of extra proper cardio around that, just to keep me moving, help me with my mental health, which is what I love about training for me. But when I jumped on the body fat testing system, I actually got leaner. I thought to myself, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to completely just de-stress this week, reset, and then go hard next week, which is what I've chosen to do, and I've got a plan. So I've trained once this week, then a couple of cardio sessions, so let's call it 3. I've gotten leaner this week. I'm eating consistently the same. My sleep hasn't changed.
You look fuller.
Right? I feel better. Yeah, so I'm just like, okay, this is actually, maybe this whole thing of 3 sessions a week is effective is actually right.
Yeah.
You don't need, if you want to, you can. You don't need to do 3 or 4
Let's
to 5.
go back to the approach that we use with a lot of clients as well. You know, the less is more approach. Sometimes doing a little bit less can actually yield a better result for the person, especially if they have, you know, a really crazy stressful lifestyle, or they have those stressful weeks where doing too much is actually going to be detrimental to their goal because they're going to burn themselves out, or they're going to put themselves in a state where they want to emotionally eat just something or just anything. And so looking at it from that point of view of, like you said, you know, taking the time to go, okay, you know what, it's not going to plan this week, but that's fine. What can I do that's within my control right now? And what can I give myself to actually yield a good result by the end of the week? And exhibit A, you got a little bit leaner, you look fuller, you feel better, and you could call this a successful week.
Yeah, exactly right. 100%. So again, looking at when we do train, we always focus on compound lifts, you know, squats, deads, presses, rows. As we know, compound exercises there's multiple joints that move at once. Therefore, more muscle groups are working at once, right? Nothing against any other way of training. We like doing compound lifts for our clients because we know it's a good bang for their buck exercise,
100%. and
there's a lot they can get done in that 45 to 60 minutes. That's our goal for them.
Yeah.
If they want to spend extra time after that by themselves, isolating biceps, triceps, forearms,
By all
calves,
means, go hard.
they want to do the tibialis anterior, go and do it. We're not going to stop you, but when we're training you, we're going to focus on the stuff that's important, right? We're looking at things like daily movement. So we always encourage our clients to get their steps up.
Yeah.
Either before a session or after a session, or on the days that they're not at the gym. Because a study that I recently looked at, I'm going to pull it up because I don't want to lose it. The study that I looked at, it looked at the difference between, or the comparison between, energy burnt with, I think I lost it. Energy burnt from NEAT levels versus going to the gym. And
I
doing
use
like a structured weight
I
session.
use this example with so many clients all the time to just harp on why NEAT levels, getting your steps in, is actually so important, specifically for fat loss goals.
Exactly. So what I need people to understand is this: when you're looking at dropping body fat, okay, look at the mechanism of fat loss. Look at what goes into getting your body to burn fat. The calories out ratio of that calories in, calories out equation you need to focus on that. Half an hour of consistent movement, right, aka walking on a treadmill for half an hour non-stop, is going to burn more calories than a half an hour weight session where you stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. The argument for that, against that, though, is that you still need to build muscle because of what it does with the basal metabolic rate and how it brings that up, and you burn more calories at rest after a session because your body's trying to get you to recover.
Exactly right.
It doesn't change the fact, though, that non-stop movement for half an hour is more effective for fat loss than a stop-start exercise routine that goes for 45 minutes to an hour, if maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is why it's very important to not just push on one thing. Things got to work together. But when we compare the both, there was a study that was done where they increased the gym session, and a gym session was some kind of structured exercise, lifting weights or doing like a HIIT class, versus an increased level of NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And I looked at using walking as that measure for NEAT, okay? Now, when they took a 75 kilogram person to compare the difference between extra gym sessions and extra NEAT levels by 5,000 steps per day, okay? Which is a fairly big amount of increase of steps. Now, a gym session that runs for 45 minutes, on average for a 75 kilo person, they will burn anywhere between 250 to 300 calories for that one session. It's dependent on the person, obviously, and how hard they go with their training session. The amount that they trained in a week was 3 gym sessions per week. So it was an average of 750 calories to 900 calories per week extra that they burn on top of whatever they were burning. Now, when we increase daily NEAT levels by 5,000 steps, okay, dependent on the person, it was an average of, where are we? It was an average of 200 to 250 calories per day. And if they're doing that every day, they're on a weekly basis, they've got between 1,400 to 1,750 calories per week burnt extra.
There you go.
Right, and it's not so much extra work for them. So increasing their NEAT levels by 5,000 steps a day, it could burn up to 90% more total calories per week compared to adding those 3 training sessions on without increasing training fatigue.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to ask me what's better, all right, I ask the person what's more important to you. So I'll say to them, do 3 PT sessions a week with us, so your 3 weight sessions, do some extra classes so you don't get bored. So we do the classes in the PT because people get bored of walking on a treadmill. It's understandable. Right? I find it boring. Okay, but I know it's important.
Yeah.
So we do that kind of stuff because we know it's important, although it's boring. So the average person though still wants a bit of entertainment with their training. So what I tell them to do is this: come in every day, and I'm going to plan for you to do something every single day. So Monday you would do your PT session, for example. You walk after it, jump in the sauna for 10-15 minutes. Tuesday, class, walk, recovery, or walk, go home. Wednesday, PT. Thursday, class. Friday, PT. Saturday, just do cardio recovery. But I'm covering the days for them. So what I've done in a week, I've increased their NEAT levels. I've got their weight trained there. And I've increased some of their classes, which increases their daily movement, which adds to their NEAT levels. That's how we work it out to make it work together. But if you were to compare the both and say, not doing weight sessions is better, not doing walking is better, look, if you're going to look at the realm of fat loss, doing extra NEAT levels, increasing NEAT levels
100%.
is way better when you look at a calorie for calorie burning basis.
I always say to the clients that we look after, say to our clients, what you do outside of the gym will make your fat loss goals that much more efficient compared to just focusing on what you're doing inside the gym, right? So if they're training 3 days in a week, what are you doing after that training session? What are you doing for the other 23 hours in the day after just that 1 hour that you've spent inside the gym? You cannot expect to get your goal, lose more body fat, if all you're doing is that 1 hour and then you're sitting on the couch for the rest of the day and not moving at all. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
And that study, I use that example all the time. You will burn more calories doing 10,000 steps than you will doing a 1 hour HIIT workout where you want to feel like you want to vomit.
Well, what makes me laugh is there was an old client of ours, and she was leaving us, and I said to her, look, I just want some feedback. I respect you want to leave, and I wish you all the best, but I just want some feedback. I want to know where we went wrong and how we can help make sure that we can kind of fix whatever we feel like we're doing wrong if it is an issue. And she said, look, I just time for me to move on. And she made all these reasons. I said, no worries. And then she turns around and says, look, I just feel like I'm not burning enough calories in my workouts. Like, I train for an hour and I only burn 200 calories. And mind you, she wanted to compete in powerlifting. So I looked at her. I said, you're more worried about burning calories than you are about getting stronger? I said, burning calories in a training session is so not a good measure of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or of your progress, I should say. I said, because it's one of those things where it's very case dependent.
Yeah, badly.
I said, do you feel like you've worked out hard? She goes, yeah. I said, so then why are you worried about how many calories you burn in a training session? So I don't necessarily care about how many calories a client burns. Science says more steps in a day means more calories burned, which will help you with your fat loss. But what it also does is it helps with your lymphatic drainage.
Yeah.
It helps with your blood circulation. They're more important to me.
And it's such
Right?
a great
It helps down-regulate your nervous system.
Yeah, and it's such a great way to burn energy into burn body fat without stressing your body out as well.
Exactly right.
Stress
Yeah.
management plays such a big factor in fat loss.
Yeah, well, I love going for a walk, whether it's on treadmill or outside. I prefer outside, obviously, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it helps with clearing my mind.
Yeah,
so when I go to my next
mental
task,
aspect is so big.
when I go to my next task, I'm clear in the mind, number one. And then number two, because I know I'm killing two birds with one stone, I can be able to just know that I'm adding to my overall daily step target that I want to make sure that I hit, to make sure that I can keep a fairly healthy body fat.
Yeah.
And just have the positive health aspects that walking does for me as well.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So there's a lot of research around this, and we look at, there was a study done in 2019. Strength and hypertrophy gains are similar with low or moderate training frequency if total volume is matched. That was the kind of main preface. So if we don't have to train 5 days a week, if we can hit the same volume in 3 days,
Yeah.
right, for that muscle group. Now, when we go with another study that was done in 2018, the main finding of that is short, efficient resistance programs deliver comparable results in high volume ones. So 45 minutes to an hour is great. You don't have to train for 2 hours.
Yeah, 100%.
It actually, it's more beneficial to do the less time and go harder at that time. Now, when we look at fat loss and making sure that we don't focus on the obsession side of fat loss, what we need to focus on is really getting people to understand that being consistent with calorie control, having adequate protein, and moving are the 3 things or 3 ingredients to your recipe of fat loss that you just got to stay consistent with. What we're trying to get our clients to do, and we encourage them to be like, is we encourage them to avoid the extremes, so they don't burn out or they don't start doing things like binge eating or just going crazy when it comes to their nutrition, or completely giving up on the thought that they can actually be happy and comfortable and confident in their own body. So I guess for us, the actionable advice is definitely based around their nutrition, and focusing on making sure that they can be able to have a lifestyle that they can stay consistent with. Do you get what I mean? So, I don't know, for me, it's always talking about prioritizing protein. Just prioritize it.
Well, I feel like that's the one thing that people don't prioritize, or they don't get in enough. And then when they do, it just changes everything for them. They don't feel like they're binge eating because obviously satiety levels with protein is higher. Protein it's slower digested as well, so they stay fuller for longer. And then they get to a point where, because their increase in protein is regulating their blood sugar levels more, they're not having that that feeling of wanting something sweet, or that feeling of wanting something salty, or just wanting to just binge in general. They get to the evening and they're like, oh, I'm starving, and it's 10 o'clock at night, rather than going to bed, they're opening up the fridge.
Well, I guess a lot of that comes back to the way that we live our lives, right? So to keep it very simple with that, I believe people don't prioritize protein because eating a steak is boring compared to having a bowl of pasta, right? Or if our clients who have kids don't want steak, right? They would rather a pasta. So our mother's not going to cook 3 different things for everybody based on what they feel like. She's going to cook one thing. It's easier for her, which I completely understand. She's going to cook one thing for everybody. Right? Not many parents are like me and my wife, where we make our son have steak. Like, I sat with him for an hour. Yeah? And I only have 1 child. If we have more, that's going to be a lot harder to do.
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm just a little bit extreme because I'm very big on his health. So I made him sit there and finish his steak. He kept dropping it or putting it out of his mouth. I made him eat it again. He finally ate it when I made it as if I was eating it with him. Right? And then he ate it all. Because they thought, oh, Dad is having it with me. But realistically speaking, that parents can't do that if they've got multiple kids. So how can they be able to get everybody eating together, right, in one go, and make it as least as time efficient, as most time efficient for the parent preparing the food as possible.
Yeah.
Make it something that's not boring and bland.
Yeah, well, this is what I've said. Like I said to one of the mothers that I coach, she was like, my kids just love pasta and blah blah. I said, there's nothing wrong with that though. I said, why not just add some form of protein into the pasta then?
Make a bolognese with
a bolognese. Put the minced meat. There you go. You're getting your protein intake.
That's what we do.
Put chicken into it.
That's what we do.
If they like one of her kids just likes eating rice, right? I said, all right, we'll just add some chicken into the rice. I said, it means that you don't have to make 3 dishes for the whole family. You can make one big dish, and you know that because I've obviously educated her on the fact that having a bit of pasta ain't going to kill you, right? Because we track everything that we're doing. And so she's having, her starchy carb intake with the spaghetti that she's having. But there's, the bolognese mince and whatnot into it as well. And she, for herself, just makes sure that she has 120 grams of the minced meat on top of the pasta. And that's it. Yeah. Bob's your uncle.
Exactly right. I think people society's kind of made you feel like you need to be extreme to get a result, and you don't. You just got to be consistent. You don't have to cut everything you love.
Exactly right.
Yeah, you don't have to, do things that you don't like to get a result that you really want. You can get the result that you want. You just got to make sure you stay sustainable.
Exactly right.
So stay consistent and with sustainable habits.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that we looked at, there was a 2015 study that was that focused a lot on high protein. And what they found was high protein diets improve fat loss and satiety.
Yeah.
So they improve how quickly you can lose fat or your effectiveness with the fat loss, but also satiety is another way of saying they kept you fuller for longer and didn't get you wanting something straight away or something else straight away, right? Foods that are low in the satiety index are going to leave you wanting more food straight after that, right? And a good example of that is a packet of chips. You're going to instantly want something else. If you have something that's higher in the satiety index, an example of that is a protein-based meal, like a steak, for example, you're a lot less likely, especially if you've had a good serving of it, to want something else because of the way it sits on the satiety index.
When you have a packet of chips, ask me and describe it.
Maltesers.
Packets of chips.
Yeah. I won't breathe and the pack will be done.
Badly.
The other one as well is the adherence. This other study that I looked at in 2018, it looked at your diet, right? And this was an interesting one. The diet adherence, not the type of diet, is the one that will determine your result.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
It's very true.
I'll say that in a kind of more simpler way. How consistent you stay with your diet is more important than the type of diet you choose to do when it comes to your ability to lose body fat. And I'll give you a great example. I had a conversation with a client before we had our podcast. It was our catch-up call. And I said and he gave me all this feedback, and he's looking great. His pants are looser on him. He sent me a photo. I'm keen to see it anyway. He had these old pants that were like tight, and they're like swimming on him. Yeah.
That's mad.
And he said, man, I've tried carnivore, I've tried intermittent fasting, I've tried low carb, I've tried a 24-hour fast. He goes, all those never worked for me. He goes, the best one I've ever been on is what you've given me, just eating every 2 to 3 hours, some kind of protein in the meal. I gave him a calorie target and a protein target. He's a little bit under on that protein target, but it's a lot higher than he was before. Yeah. And he's actually eating more calories than he ever has. He goes, man, I'm leaner, I'm muscly, I'm stronger, I feel great. He goes, this is awesome. And I just thought to myself, this is such a true testament to what we just said. Yeah. That how your ability to stay consistent with a diet is so much more than the type of diet that you're actually doing. Which tells me, right, that if a research paper says that, and all of our experience of that says that as well, stop getting fixated on what type of diet you're having. Start getting fixated on being consistent with what you need to be doing.
Consistency. Right? We always say, nail the basics, just be consistent.
On the other hand, someone can be consistent, but consistently wrong with what they're doing as well. So somebody can
Make sure you're consistently right.
Yeah, exactly. But somebody can be under-eating for too long. Somebody can be doing the wrong thing for their body type or for them or for their goal for too long. Yeah, based on the poor advice that they've been given. Yeah. And I'll say it again about 1,200 calorie diets. All right, the individuals that I know struggle with fat loss for the long term are the ones that are on those silly 1,200 calorie diets. Right, because of the way that it destroys their body by letting their body burn way too much muscle. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's enough importance placed. Like you've heard me lately over the last 6 months talk about how important muscle is, and how important building muscle is, and how detrimental to every aspect of your life and of your health if you lose muscle. I don't think people give it enough respect. I don't think people actually prioritize building muscle enough.
Yeah, man.
Right?
It's like,
because if you think about it, if you're under eating protein, where are you going to get that protein from?
yeah.
Your muscle, right? You
Your body will
need
literally eat at it.
you can become catabolic in other ways. So it's the worst thing for your body. But you know, we hear about those people that fall and break something and they're never the same after. If they had more muscle, they would be fine, or more likely to be fine.
We had a snippet of one of our episodes that we put up today on social media where I was talking literally just about that.
And it just does my head in. It really does my head in. Because it's like how many times people have to scream at you, or how many things do you have to hear that are bad with people's health?
Yeah, my thing is not even about that. It's about how much shit do you have to experience yourself for you to be like, okay, maybe I should change.
How much time you got to talk about that?
Bruh, not enough time.
But I need to come from an empathetic point of view with that, right? Because there is fear around change.
I get you.
No,
I get you.
yeah.
But like,
No, your opinion is 100% valid. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, like
And I agree.
I don't know. But it's just the way we both think, because we both think the same on this topic in terms of, like, how can you be scared to change when you are literally destroying your health at the same time?
Because people resonate with what they know over what they don't know.
I get that, but like at the same time, like if you're in and out of hospital, you're all fine to be continuously going in and out of hospital, but you're too scared to change, so you don't have to be going in and out of hospital.
But the thing
like
is,
that's where I get it. I get being empathetic to that situation, and I can understand because we've dealt with so many different people over the last 10 to 15 years. So I get it, but at the same time, I don't get it. You know what I mean?
you don't get it because that's not how you think.
That's it. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's
Yeah.
all. Look, I'm gonna say I don't necessarily agree with these people, but I think to myself, if this individual is trusting me to work with them, to help them, I need them to get on the same wavelength as me at the very least. Because if I don't, we're not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I can't go in full guns blazing, pointing a finger at them, because the objection is to get them on the same page. as
Yeah,
me.
definitely. The
That's
way we
all.
approach it, obviously, is very important.
That's all, yeah, exactly. Now, just to kind of, before we wrap it up, again, consistency beats intensity.
Yeah, definitely would.
When we look at the things to prioritize, a lot of people don't prioritize recovery and stress enough. I was listening to a podcast yesterday and it was talking about your lung capacity and your longevity. And it was relating it back to stress. And the gentleman that was talking about it was talking about the fact that there were studies done, if you have bigger lungs, you live longer. If you have smaller lungs because of how you're stressed, and your body just does this when you're stressed, right?
Yeah.
Gives you no room to move. It gives you no room to move. So
Is
imagine
that got to
being,
do like oxygen uptake?
well, the more you can manage your CO2,
Yeah.
the better.
Makes
Right.
sense.
So now it's one of those things where if you can prioritize your stress management, your sleep, your recovery, one of them is through your breathing.
Yeah.
You can actually give yourself a lot more of a benefit with how long you can live, but also the quality of that life as well. Bro, I say, look at our grandfather. You're on your honeymoon, you didn't see, but look at our grandfather.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the way he was on that Friday night. He didn't look like himself at all. And I said to him, I'll see you tomorrow. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, far out, I hope nothing happens tomorrow. And I woke up, I just didn't cross my mind. Went to work, did what I had to do. And then I found out the way I found out, and I was like, what? And then I thought to myself, obviously he had open heart surgery all those years ago, never looked after himself, still smoked when he wasn't supposed to.
Still drank when it wasn't
Still
supposed to.
still drank when he wasn't supposed to, still ate. Like I used to laugh with him, like, do you want more jam? Do you want more bread with your jam? So much jam he used to have, remember? Like the guy used to just, it was yuck, right? Because how much jam he had in his lead bread.
Yeah.
And you know, he just, I don't know what it was, he just didn't care. You know, and I'm adamant, and I said this in that talk I did at Kingsgrove RSO with all those people there, if he just did one thing a little bit better, maybe build a little bit more muscle, maybe he might still be here.
Maybe.
Highly likely would still be here.
Yeah.
All right? But there's always a Karen out there that's going to say, you don't know that for sure. Well, I do. It's my
No,
grandfather.
highly likely he still
I
would
do. It's
be
my
here.
grandfather. I'm pretty certain about it. But yeah, so like those kinds of things it's one of the biggest reasons why I'm so like about it all now.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it.
We have to
I've
be.
seen
We
it.
have to be.
But like our grandmother all those years ago when she fell, broke her hip, she never looked after herself. All right, the most amazing woman in the world, biggest heart in the world, loved everyone loved her. Still didn't change the fact that she didn't look after herself.
Yeah.
Our grandfather, good man, gave us everything that we have, right? But if he just looked after himself, why do you think I'm so big on mum and dad looking after themselves?
Yeah,
I don't want
100%.
them. I don't want that for them.
100%, man.
You know? And as we get older, like I always tell people, the heart attack that happened at 50 started at 20.
Yeah.
Yeah? And if you understand what happens to the heart when you have too much blood sugar, when you have too much glucose in your blood, so your blood sugar is high, and what happens with that sugar and those glucose molecules around the actual heart itself, and how that's the reason why you had a heart attack, not your cholesterol levels, and not your the amount of body fat on you. It's the amount of sugar in your system. That's the predetermining factor. If you actually understood that and took the time to learn the science the way I do, you would literally not look at confectionery food the same ever again.
Yeah.
Right? You'll never look at high sugary drinks the same ever again. You'll look and respect building muscle as one of the most important things you could ever do for your life.
100%, man.
Right?
100%.
And this is why I look at people like, just listen to me.
Yeah.
Not because I think I'm better than you, but like I've done the work for you. Imagine if you went on an exam and said, hey man, some guy come up to you and said, listen, I've been in your shoes before, I've passed it all with flying colours, here's the answers. What would you do? You take those answers,
100%.
ace that test, and you pay it forward, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right? That's what we do for our clients.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, look, I've been where you're at, but I've got the answers for you. You just need to work with me as hard as you can to just implement as much as you can of this. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I don't know, my friend's uncle's husband's wife is a plumber, told you what? Told you what? And their gut is that low, they can't even see their dick, man. Like, told you what? What do they tell you? Please. And what is it? Where they get it from? TikTok for a minute? Instagram for 30 seconds?
Yeah, man. This is why like having so many opinions out there right now is
The opinions are fine. I love being challenged. Do you know why? Because it's a test for me to know whether I'm actually good at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Challenge me all you like, right? You're not going to like the fact that I'll spit back at you a lot of facts, but challenge me all you like. But be open to learning. Don't challenge me and have a closed mind because you know, oh, here we go, Anthony thinks he knows it all again. I don't think I know it all. I actually do know what I'm talking about. I don't know it all, but what I'm talking about, I definitely know a lot about. So if you're going to challenge me, be prepared to listen.
100%.
Don't challenge me because you want to argue with me, because if anyone knows me, I love a good old argument. Right? I should have been a lawyer because I'll argue to my face and I'll most likely win. Right? But the point is, if you're going to challenge me. But sit the fuck down and listen to what I have to say, because if you don't, then this conversation is pointless.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you get what I mean? You challenge me all the time, but not in an egotistical way. You challenge me with questions. You ask me, hey, Anthony, you said this, what do you mean by that? You said this, what do you mean by that? And I love the fact that you ask me, but what I love even more is that you're actually open to learning something new. Well, all my team did the same thing with me. Hey, we're doing it like this, how come? I love the fact that they ask me. They're not challenging me because they want to be disrespectful.
Challenging to grow.
It's part of the growth. You need to ask questions to grow.
Yeah.
But the key with growth is actually taking it in, learning it, absorbing it, and using it.
Yeah, definitely.
Not hearing it and going, yeah, whatever, yeah, whatever. You just think you know it all. Like, that's what I cop, and I'm like, why am I even talking to you, man?
Badly.
Do you get what I mean?
Badly.
But I don't like doing that with our clients for two reasons. One, they obviously pay us. But number two, we genuinely want to help them.
Yeah.
We want to see them succeed. I said to a client yesterday, and I told him off. I said, man, I'm trying to give you a better quality of life so you can be better for your kids. You're welcome. He looked at me. I said, you're welcome. Because you're not fucking doing it for yourself. So clearly I need to teach you how to do it for yourself. But if you're too stubborn and immature to put the burger down and have a piece of steak instead, because you're at that point in your life where that burger's going to potentially kill you, that's how bad you are. If you're too stubborn to do that, leave.
Yeah, badly.
He's like, what? I said, leave. I'm not going to sit here and have it on my head that you died because you wouldn't listen to me. I said, leave. And he's like, all right, I'll change. I said, I need you to change because your life, your actual life, depends on it. He's type 2 diabetic and he's got black ankles, man. Like, your life depends on it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And this is where I get like stroppy with people, because it's like, how many more signs do you need your body to give you?
Badly, man. Badly.
You know what I mean? How many signs do you need your body to give you? I got another client. Her endocrinologist is like, cut your thyroid out if it's not working properly. It's fine. And I was like, no, it's not. We're not made to cut our organs out. We actually need our thyroid.
Yeah, badly.
I don't understand why people sit there and say, if it's not working properly, just cut it out. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Doesn't make sense.
I'll never get it.
And I'm talking to her about why it's important to look after these things and look after her health and take her supplements. She's like, yeah, I'll think about it. I go, what's there to think about? I said, you're at the point now where you're going to cut an organ out that you actually need for the longevity and health of your life. And you're telling me you're going to think about making changes that will prevent you from cutting the organ out? And she looked at me. I said, come on. Like, come on. Right? And I had the same conversation with a client earlier today, and she had the total opposite mindset, which was so refreshing.
Yeah, badly.
She's like, okay, well, so I don't need to cut it out. So she goes, then why do they tell me I need to cut it out for? I said, because that's what they know. I'm telling you the other way.
Yeah.
I've seen what happens when you cut it out. I've seen what it does. You don't need to go down that road and ruin your mental health because you can't lose the body fat that you want to lose because it makes everything so much harder. I said, let's fix the root cause problem. You got some antibodies there. Let's fix it. Give me your blood test results. I'll talk to my practitioners and let's rock and roll.
Yeah, that's it.
And she's like, okay, cool. And I was like, all right, somebody that actually wants to make a lifelong change. It's refreshing.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? But unfortunately, with the niche that we look after, this is the kind of conversations that sometimes we have.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes I paint the picture that, you know, these people are hard work. They're not hard work. Our clients
No, I love our community.
are definitely not hard work. There's some people that you just got to be very direct with.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? And I get passionate, comes across as aggressive, whatever, but because I actually want to help these people.
Yeah.
Because if I know that so-and-so has come to me, my integrity tells me I need to make sure I don't leave any stone unturned with how I help this individual, because I want them to get, 1, the best experience, 2, get the results, 3, keep the results, 4, I want to have a positive impact on this person's life.
Yeah.
And I know you're the same. And this is why we talk about these things on our video, on our podcast, and not just do a random podcast where two brothers just rant about pointless stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually want our listeners to take something away from this and go, all right, now I know why it's important, and now I know why he says A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Now I know why he goes on about muscle so much. Now I know why he always tells me prioritize protein every meal. Or now I know why he tells me get 10,000 steps a week.
We want to leave our listeners
with
some form of education. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So anyway, my key takeaway, and your key takeaway, I'll go first, I'll give you a bit of time to think.
Okay.
My key takeaway is you don't need more time, you need a better focus.
I like that. My key takeaway is what I said before. Sometimes less is more, and sometimes doing a little bit less, not all the time, but doing a little bit less on certain weeks or certain days might actually yield a better result for you.
Beautiful. All right, team. Thank you for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. Have a good one.